probably seen us all over the racing world and doing a lot of racing designs for events and race teams, but we also do a lot of stuff from small boutiques in small cities all the way up to Fortune 500 companies. Your brand deserves to be seen. We print on more than just shirts, hats, jackets, bags, and much, much more. Custom corporate branding starts here.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome in again to everybody's favorite racing talk show. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show, 10 years strong. Showtime Bobby Chappie right here. The Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez. That's that man over to the left side of your screen. I'm joined by a very impatient Rusty the dog, as normal, but he, as I told you before we came on the air, I gave him treats to calm him down, but all that did was fire him up.
Yeah, that doesn't work a lot of times. It kind of has the reciprocating circumstances, if that's even the right term right there. But yeah, that happens, man. Good old pets, man. You can't, that's the thing about it. As much as we, people talk about mental health and so forth and so on, which is extremely important. Man, pets are just, especially dogs. I mean, I'm biased, and I think you are too. But dogs, man, that's just, God, you can't beat the pups, man. They are there for you. You can feel like the biggest piece of shit in the world, and those pups, man, they're gonna love on you, dude.
Well, he's 14. For those that don't know about my dog Rusty that you see in the background all the time, he's 14, about 3/4 of the way deaf, and pretty much 100% blind.
It's about like me.
Yeah.
So you like old dogs that can't see and can't hear. That's what it takes to be a friend of Bobby Chaffee, friends.
That's right. Yeah, he doesn't hear me, can't see me, can't see me for the show. So hopefully he don't fall off the couch again like he did a few minutes ago before we went on the air. But
it's all good, man. It's all good. Welcome into the program, everybody. Day late and $1 short, but you know what? We got it done. We got it done, and this will be, this show is always a lot of fun. I mean, that's what we've always really strived to do, to talk racing and be, pretty explicit about a lot of different things. But then you have weeks like we just went through, the racing family, and this is like worldwide, right? And obviously you had what happened on Thursday, and then we get the news a little bit later in the weekend where it hits close to home. It's just, man, that was a hell of a few days, wasn't it?
A pretty surreal few days anyway. When you got, I mean, that Thursday deal with Kyle Busch, like we had texted that morning about him. I think I texted you about him being sick and going to miss the races in Charlotte. And then like 4 hours later, you text me with the screenshot that he died. I'm like, oh, damn, what the hell happened there? And we texted back and forth like lost kids for a minute going, what happened? What do you mean? What happened?
Yeah. And that's where, it's so weird these days, because I was working on some stuff and I saw that come across, and it's like, these days you can't instantly think that something is legit, because even when the first time I saw it, and it was pretty fresh when I saw it, it said NASCAR, but there have been way too often of times lately where I see news that supposedly breaks, and you look and it looks like it's a viable source, and it's not. And I seriously thought that was the case there, but man, it wasn't. And you want to talk about a kick in the stones of reality right there. That was, when you lose somebody like that as impactful to the racing world, not just NASCAR, that's a huge loss right there with Kyle Busch.
I mean, it was felt around the world. I mean, I watched a bunch of racing from all over the world, and every single racing series, from Formula One to Australian supercars, MotoGP, if it was running or it had a social media account, it had something about Kyle Busch on it. And that's good because, and every news station covered it either in social media or was a lead story. It was this first or second lead story in every national nightly news show that day. So the one thing, while I'm disappointed that he's gone and we'll miss his character, the one thing I can say is that at least it transcended the sport and actually made NASCAR drivers look like as they are, as real legitimate sports stars. I think this may be a negative way to look at it, but I mean, he transcended. It was kind of like when Earnhardt died. Earnhardt was on the cover of Time magazine.
Yep.
And it's like, we obviously we agree that they're superstars and they're sports stars and athletes and all that. It's hard for somebody that doesn't understand this sport to agree with that or understand that. Here's looking at you, Stephen A. Smith. But I think that it transcended the sports world and, became a huge story where it was a mainstream story. It still is about a week later now that the autopsy's out.
He's on the cover of People, which in these days, with print magazines and so forth, print magazines that have any sort of impact are few and far between these days. And that People, I do know, is one that is huge, and it's entirely a Kyle Busch edition there. I'm going to try to get my hands on one of those just to see that and just to have it, because it's again another one of those situations to where, I mean, on my phone I still have to where this passing of Kyle Busch has been compared to the Kobe Bryant passing. And a lot of people are going to the low-hanging fruit, the number 8, the KB, blah, blah, blah. But you just look at the impact that they have on the sport and the impact that they have on a larger, on society is, I think, the bigger story for me. And just the sense with Kyle that we've lost him at such a young age. And the thing about it is where it's so weird, I think where a lot of non-race fans really don't understand this, and probably even some newer race fans, Bobby, don't understand this, is for guys like you and I that have followed or that have known or that have dealt with Kyle Busch. That dude's been around forever. And he's only 41.
Since he was 16.
Yeah. It's like, it's like Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is another great example. I know he's going through all of the stuff that he's been through, but when you go back and you look at Tiger Woods, you can tailor him back to 8-9 years old, hitting golf balls on the Mike Douglas show or whatever that was. I don't know what that was, but that's how we know Kyle Busch, way back to those days. And it's just a loss to where the entire industry, and I'm not saying sport, I'm saying industry, because I'm talking about the business part, the logistical part, just the impact that this guy has had. This is major. This is huge.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's just, and I thought NASCAR handled it well. The Steve O'Donnell thing at the 600 intro was something that I didn't see coming. I know it's something you text me, and I was like, oh crap, let me go back and watch it, because I was trying to get to the store and back to get some barbecue goods so I could grill during the 600, because I knew it was going to rain there, but wasn't going to rain here. So ended up trying to do that. But yeah, I mean, it's, you're right. It transcended the sport. It transcended one, it's a sad deal, but yet a cool deal at the same time.
Yeah.
And like you said, so young, right? When we were 20 years old, 41 seemed like an ancient age. Hell, now that I'm 47, I realized how much of an asshole I was when I was a teenager making fun of 40-year-olds.
Well, and the other part about it is, and this is something where, man, I really even hate to go down this road, but I think no loss is a good loss. Absolutely. A loss of life is never good. Whether it be this way or whether it be tragic or however this happens. But maybe this is because what I have seen somewhat, I mean, you still have the keyboard warriors, you still have all the negative stuff, but sometimes there are things where a little bit of a reset to kind of try to unite a community or whatever. And I do think that the racing community as a whole needs a reset and needs to be a little more united and trying to work together and trying to not go to the immediate negative things. I would hope that in the sense that you have lost such a pillar of the community, the racing community, that maybe that comes out of this a little bit. But back to the individual. And I was talking to our man Aaron Hogan about this on Friday on his program on Friday morning, to where this is where it really sucks because you have Kyle Busch the character, you have everything that for a lot of people that didn't like Kyle Busch, for whatever reason throughout the years. But now we're starting to see all the different stories that are coming about, and so some of these about if you're a little more ingrained and in the know. You're starting to see all the shit that really made him a good dude. And I'm glad that that's coming out, but a lot of times it takes something like this for the rest of the people to get to see what a good person he really was.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, obviously not to compare apples to oranges, like, there was a tide turning where he was becoming more of a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Some because he got rid of the evil empire in Toyota and was driving for Richard Childress. And, some people considered him on that same level as Dale Earnhardt Sr. But I think people in a way felt sorry for him. Just like when Jeff Gordon, I mean, remember when we were at TMS the year that Jeff Gordon finally won? That place was going ape shit. And I'm like, there were people that I knew were not Jeff Gordon fans, myself included. They were up cheering and happy as hell that he finally won a race at Texas when he, I mean, I remember just like yesterday, we were sitting together. It's like, damn, he's fast. Oh shit, he's on 2 tires. And then he put on 4 tires and smoked their ass.
Yeah. And it happens. And that's where, we've done this for so long to where it's like, these guys hit that certain point. Darrell Waltrip's a great example to where you go back and you look at what Darrell Waltrip was, when he came in, button heads with David Pearson and Cale Yarborough and Richard Petty and like going blow for blow and challenging these guys, bucking the system, and nobody liked him. I mean, whatever. But at a certain point, something happens. Thank you, Rusty Wallace. And, the tide turns, and then he's suddenly the most popular driver. That happens. That happened with Rusty Wallace, to where it was like at one point, people were not the most favorable of he. And all that changes. Gordon, you talked about. I mean, I think even in a sense with Jimmy Johnson, to where Jimmy Johnson did everything to cause some of the problems in NASCAR that we have right now, to where rules changes and point systems and all that. A lot of that was Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus and Hendrick Motorsports. But when you get to the end of his career where he's struggling, you remember coming out of COVID where he's leading that race, and it's like, shit, he may actually win a stage. Wow, he may win a stage. And he spins out and puts it in the fence. So it's funny how that happens. And that really was what was going on with Kyle. But and it seemed they were going in the right direction. They made the crew chief change, and I was thinking that he would get to victory lane at some point. Was it going to be a dominating win somehow? No, probably not. But I think that he would have gotten a victory lane with the path that they were on at that point.
He got close. Close for sure.
Competitive, that was the big thing right there. But I think and with Kyle, what's just been extraordinary, and where racing is so different is when football, basketball, baseball, name the sport, when somebody passes away like that of the magnitude of Kyle Busch, you do see the outpouring of his colleagues, or of the colleagues of whoever that are doing whatever. A lot of times it's like some of this stuff sounds like canned politically correct stuff. The emotion in these guys with people that he locked horns with, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano, these guys, you feel their pain. That tells me how genuine this sport is.
Yeah, I mean, like when Brad Keselowski, I mean, it's almost like a sense of guilt, double checking their own selves to make sure they were at peace with Kyle Busch, especially Keselowski and Logano.
Yep.
That was to me, that's what I caught in that. Now, obviously, when you have a feud like that, I mean, I think that it was just, you had too many cooks at that time, and you had, too many chefs in the kitchen, so to speak, and somebody had to be the lead dog. So they all butted head there for years.
Yeah. And the other thing that I take out of Kyle Busch, something that I blamed on Kyle Busch for a long time, and now in the last few years, I've kind of changed it. Not so much when I say blame Kyle Busch, but something that I credit Kyle Busch with, and it's probably not a good thing, is that now where we talk about the young racers that don't give a damn, You know, when you had these newer drivers that started coming out and were talking shit and doing all these different things and were just asses, I would always say, well, that's because of Kyle Busch, because that's what he did. But when you go back and you look at it, what Kyle Busch did different was Kyle Busch always backed up everything he said. It was
immortal words of Kid Rock. It ain't cocky if you back it up.
It's like it's an AJ Foyt, Tony Stewart kind of guy, but it was just in a younger framed new guy that just came around and just talked a lot of shit. But damn, that man could drive, you know. And we've seen it firsthand, just how good he was. God, that's still so weird. Talking about him in the past tense is so weird.
It will be for a while.
Yeah. And it is devastating. I mean, just for the sport all the way down. And, you know, the other part about Kyle, where I think, again, a lot of people don't understand is that the guy didn't have to work on his cars, but he could. But he did. He did.
He worked on those super late models. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and I remember the first Derby that you and I went to, which is the first Derby that I ever went to, I had managed to get myself right there to Myers and Booth Victory Lane or whatever it's called there at Five Flags. He wins the race and I had scooted like way up to the front and he gets out of the car and I mean, I didn't know Kyle Busch, but you know, I kind of gave him a thumbs up or whatever. And he walks by and I go to give him a high five and he's like punches me in the shoulder like a guy that he's known. And he's like, that's how you fucking race Pensacola. Those are the only words that I ever exchanged with Kyle Busch, and it was him talking. So yeah, man, just everything he did it with 150,000%.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yeah. It really was a shock when you see that come across something like that. And this goes back to, you know, the signs were there, and I guess some of the hindsight now to where, well, it's NASCAR's job.
He's coughing at the end of the interview with Amanda.
Yeah. And I mean, even, you know, Mario Andretti, you know, and it's like, you know, as much as we have, you know, conversed with Mario where he's like in that interview, you know, talking to him, he's like, you know, he does the modern day Gen Z type of where he pulls his phone out. He's look, I was just talking to him. And it's like, damn, shit can change real fast, can it?
Life goes by at a heartbeat and a lightning bolt.
Yeah. And it really was, I think for Samantha and Brexton and Lennox, you know, to be there on Sunday, I did not see that one coming. And that was like, from what I've heard, I watched, I guess Dale Jr. Download, and they didn't know anything about this. It was like he said 5 minutes before that actually hit the air that they're like, they're fucking here. They are here. And, you know, and I think that that's good for them because look, when you go back and you look at that family, you know, Kyle's family, that's not a family that they act like they like racing because dad or the husband did it. They're a racing family. And the fact that they were there, I think that I actually think, Bobby, that helped in the healing process for a lot of people. Not that you're going to be grieving for a while, but I think that helps even for the race fans watching.
I think so. I mean, I think it made a huge impact. I mean, obviously, there were some people out there saying, why trot out the widow in public and all that. It just proved the one thing we've always known. Racing is a family.
Yeah.
You feel it, especially when you've got 36 guys and gals that race together every single week for 38 out of 40 weeks. You know, it's a close-knit community. Their kids play together.
Yeah.
You know, all that kind of stuff. You know, they go to the same churches. They go to the same MRO, you know, motor racing outreach every Sunday. Yeah. You know, they're always around each other, you know, and it's like, a lot of it, you know, there was a difference when like you had like Blaney and Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez and all those young guys together, Chase Elliott, the bros, you know, when you had all 4 or 5 of those guys that were all hanging out together, partying together. Well, now they've slowed down because they're all getting married. They all got kids now, except for Chase Elliott. He's working on it, I imagine. But you know, I mean, it's like, you know, that time has passed, and you know, now granted they get into it with each other sometimes, but you know, you're friends with your competitor. I mean, you know that same thing. You know, when you race against somebody for a season, you may not like them, but you're like, damn, I got to do better to beat this guy or whatever.
Yeah, and that's where just as you get older, you learn to understand and just being a competitor. Yeah, I mean, some of my good buddies right now, I couldn't stand them on the track. I mean, they know who they are, and I'm sure they feel the same way about me. I mean, I couldn't stand them, and on race day, I didn't want to talk to them, you know. But if something happened and they needed me, I go, well, shit, I'm going to be right there for them, and that's what we're seeing right here, and this is really where I think, like where you're mentioning about Keselowski or as a Keselowski, as some of the folks still say, with Keselowski and with Joey Logano and Kevin Harvick, even also, to where I don't really think that we're going to have those rivalries anymore, because like some of the guys that you talk about right there, I mean, we look now, you know, I know Logano. I mean, I guess maybe Ross Chastain is the guy. You know, maybe with Denny Hamlin and some of that water under the bridge right there. But I don't really think we ever get back to the time, just because it's not correct to be those type of rivals anymore, if that sounds right anymore. But you know, those Keselowski and Logano ones, that was some pretty bitter shit, you know? I mean, like folks now that say, oh, these guys are pansies and so forth. That's what they said about them back then, you know, because they're comparing them to the Allisons and Kale. Yeah, they're not fighting like that. But, you know, when you go back and you watch that, that's some pretty bitter shit.
Well, especially at TMS when Keselowski went for that hole, I still contend, and he does too. That hole was wide ass open on that restart going down into turn one. They ended up wiping everybody out because when he got to the hole, there was other guys trying to get to that hole too, and it just racing deal and wadded them all up. I think we'll see, now they try to settle everybody down. Like when Chastain got a little wild, started driving out of control, you know, Hendrick set him down.
Yep.
Same thing with Carson Hocevar.
Yep.
You know, when he started being a wild thing, you know, trying to be a little crazy and just being aggressive and did some stupid things, they sat him down, and now that kind of died down. So,
yeah, they extinguish these things before they can really, you know, get to that point to where, and look, that's part of the entertainment value. I think is when you go back and you look at that, and I've talked to a few people that maybe have gotten into the NASCAR part of racing a little bit later, you know, in the last few years, that they had no idea that, excuse me, that there was a rivalry there. I mean, especially like with the Harvick thing. I was talking to a guy the other day, and he's like, I had no idea that Harvick even raced with Kyle Busch. I'm like,
the whole time.
Okay, newbie.
Yeah.
But, you know, that they don't the extent of some of the Keselowski one, man, that was it.
Keselowski said it in the intro. Hi, my name is Brad Keselowski, and Kyle Busch is an ass.
Yeah,
we should have saved that soundbite, but that's what he says at Bristol.
Yeah. And you know, the thing about it is with Kyle is he embraced that. And it's something that again, where I was talking, I did another radio hit, and I was saying, Kyle, but all of these racers, and this is where I started seeing these NASCAR guys in a different light when we crossed over into the more mainstream media stuff, to where it's like, I do remember, you know, several years ago, to where it's like, I don't like Carl Edwards, I don't like Kyle Busch, I don't like Kevin Harvick, and you know, there's always a list of these drivers that I didn't like them, yeah, you know. But when you look at them from the other side, when a lot of what Kyle Busch did in the rowdy days, a lot of that was a persona. And man, he played that so well. He played
the black hat well.
God, didn't he?
But he sold a lot of merchandise.
He did. He thrived on that. But at the same time, and this is where where I talk about crossing over to the other side where you see the other stuff. The dude would give the shirt off his back to somebody in need. I truly believe that, because that's just the way these guys are.
The video where he saw the chick in the Kyle Busch hat leaving the racetrack, that to me is probably the Kyle Busch that nobody got to see except for that one time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what makes this even more crushing, that's sort of from a racing standpoint, is that I think Kyle was at a point in his life to where he's going to try to win another race or two on the Cup side, but he was now more concentrated on his family, on his kids. You know, obviously Brexton's career has done great things, and what he and Samantha have done, you know, for IVF, they're extremely involved with pets, all of that. Kyle was at that humanitarian point to where he was going to make a larger impact with winning 234 races in the 3 national series. And we can spit all these things out. And would he have maybe won a truck championship if he would have concentrated on the trucks had he, you know, lived longer? Yeah, he probably would have if he would have done that. But I think he was at a point of his life to where he was going to become the humanitarian that was always in there, because he got to the point in his racing career where, okay, it's time to go do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that's what sucks, is we never get to see that part.
Yeah. Definitely don't get to see that. I mean, like I said, we get the joy. I guess you could use word joy in this circumstance. So, you know, when we get to see these guys in a different light. You know, because we've been to Kyle Busch press conferences, we've been to the bullpens with Kyle Busch trying to answer questions, and sure, they talk to the same 6 or 7 people every week. That's what everybody does, right? Because that's the same 6 or 7 people are the ones asking the questions every week.
And that's a lot of the, you can go back and listen. I mean, they're everywhere. I've got some cut up, but I mean, yeah, so much of them are, I know that there are some young people that actually probably watch this. So I'm like, nah, we won't play them. You can find them on your own. But I mean, I think that's a lot of the frustration that Kyle Busch had, throughout some of his career, is where when he would get frustrated with the media, it's like, come on. And that's where racing is so different, because he goes stick one of these mics in somebody's face when they're in the heat of the moment. And Kyle Busch was the best example of it, to where it's like, okay, you put that, you better have thick skin.
It's hot. That's right. It's a hot mic.
Yeah. He's going to tell you what he's thinking, but just a tough, all of that. And it happened so fast. And, one of the questions that I got was, is it any different, for me as a race fan or whatever, that this didn't happen on the track? And, that was kind of a poignant question, where when it was first asked to me, I'm like, oh, that's kind of a shitty question to ask. But
a morbid question.
Yeah. As I kind of thought about it, I processed it a little bit more, to where, honestly, I think for me, it was a little more tragic that it happened this way, because a seemingly healthy 41-year-old man, up until a day and a half before you lose him, you see him and everything appears to be okay. Yeah. And that's the tragedy part. And that's where blink your eyes and it's gone. So to me, it's a little harder the way that it happened. With some of these guys that
I did some unofficial research and looked it up. I think the last time a full-time Cup driver died was Earnhardt. That was on the racetrack. Before that, the last time that a full-time Cup driver passed was in '93 with Allison. And then 3 months before that, Alan Kwiecki.
Yeah. Yeah. And with those, not on the racetrack, but, in the process of trying to get to a racetrack, I guess you could say, with the aircraft accidents. But Kyle Busch, he had a sinus infection.
A sinus infection. Passed out in the simulator.
Yeah. And it's and that was where, as the story has come out more and more, and you go back to it, you do kind of look for signs, because again, totally different situation, but you can go back and, like with Tim Richmond, where we mentioned the cough, you can go back and find interviews with Tim Richmond as all that was going on, to where that dude, but his was prolonged. I mean, it was months and months of this guy, and it's, in the middle of whatever. with Kyle, I've seen a couple of little instances of it, but this is where you go back to, like I said, a seemingly healthy dude, in great shape. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
drank the best energy drinks. Just ask him. So it oh man, I still, I mean, the whole talking about him in past tense is just, it's just fucking wild, man.
Just crazy. Life comes at you fast.
It does.
Hell, that wasn't even the only bad news we got.
No, and that's coming up. But to the industry's credit, I think that they did a really good job on handling this, and the way that everything was presented. People want to bitch about Prime. I think Prime did a great job of.
I want to ask you about
presenting.
that. So the ratings are out today. Well, they didn't give any specific. I think they may have. I got to go back and look at the Toby Christie story. Ratings compared to last year's first ever race on Prime up 12%.
Up 12%.
Is that because people wanted to tune in and see what they were going to do for Kyle Busch?
I hate to kind of crush the Prime, and I heard, I forget who it was that was talking about this, and they did attribute that, because I think it was 3 million approximately what watched, which is a staggering number.
That's a hell of a number for streaming.
Yeah, especially for all the people that couldn't get it. Wink, wink. It heard
the new commercial with Dale Jr.?
No.
Dale Jr. at the very end of the commercial talking about racing on Amazon Prime. He goes, and if you don't get it, you can sign up for the free 30-day trial on Amazon at amazon.com/prime. Says it in the commercial on channel 90.
Well, I'll tell you, it's worth getting because the coverage is really good. Even in my opinion, even with this dark cloud, literally, I mean, it was like, okay, Kyle Busch, you lose Kyle Busch on Thursday, and that stubborn son of a bitch is going to make it harder than shit for everybody to race this weekend. That's exactly what happened. Is it was hard. But I mean, the coverage is just even with everything that was going on, with all the sadness, the coverage is just so much better.
That's great. Weather impacted Coke 600 on Prime Video averaged 3.06 million viewers, up 12% from last year's edition of the race. This is the most watched Prime NASCAR race to date.
Yeah, and
I mean, that's better than some FS1 races. 3 million. That's better than some of the FS1 races.
And I have to tell you that what I thought was, I think I texted you this because I thought it. And I try to text you things that I think, that way if I say something, you can tell me you didn't tell me that. But even though that it was very, very sad, just throughout the weekend, everything that went on at Charlotte, even as fresh as this was, it wasn't, there was a lot of remembrance, obviously, about Kyle, as there should be, but it wasn't a total,
wasn't as somber as it
sappy. Yeah, even with the weather.
They still had to fill though, and then they got into more Kyle Busch stuff. But especially during the O'Reilly race, they had a lot of time to fill with that one. And then with the truck race being delayed, they had a lot of time to fill that. Speaking of truck race, Eric Brennan rather. Oh, what a pro! Can you imagine the first time you're on the air? Excuse me. I mean, first time you're on the air with the trucks for the 2026 season, and that's how you have to be. You're the lead race into Kyle Busch.
That guy right there, man. I'm here to tell you that guy is rock solid. If you're not familiar with that dude's work and you want to hear just a tremendous race announcer, go and watch that dude. And that's a guy that does it the right way. That's a guy that looks outside the window and watches a monitor. And that's what was so different with the truck race, to where it's like, something happens with the truck race and I think in my opinion that's where, like, when people say, because the broadcasters aren't there. I know that these guys were there this weekend, but I think that's the thing where everything in those broadcasts, everything is just so delayed and shit gets missed. But when you have a play-by-play person that is that on point, I mean, I don't care if they're there or in Charlotte and the race is somewhere else. When somebody's watching all of that, I mean, it just flows better. I mean, it's brilliant. His work is great. Yeah. But you call the Cars Tour races, so that's going to keep you on your toes.
You call the Cars Tour. Does a lot of ARCA on FS1, FS2, so he's there. I mean, I think that there was an overwhelming. We won't say are not going to be more negative than normal, but there was an overwhelming wave of support for this guy over somebody else.
Yeah, look, man, I'll say her name. I love Jamie. Comes to when it comes, I mean, a lot of what I have said, a lot of what hurts Jamie is that not being. And again, I am hardly anyone to give advice, but just in my past, when you have a strong play-by-play person like that, what happens to me also often with Jamie is that whether it be whoever's working with her, that they kind of they step on her toes, and they kind of take some of that from her, and she doesn't to take command of the booth. And that's where the difference is with him. That is his booth. I mean, there are times if you go back and you rewatch that race where these guys are bantering back and forth as well as they do, the color analyst, and then he decides to talk and they shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Dude, this is my booth. I am running this broadcast. And I'm sure he set that expectation and just knocked it out of the park. And Jamie's great. I mean, she was great at Indianapolis. She's great.
Damn good pit reporter. Was able to transition seamlessly over to Indy.
Did you hear that thing that I sent you? Her mom was a showgirl, and I'll try not to. We're not here to talk about any of that, but Jamie, she saw some crazy stuff in her childhood,
younger days. Yeah, crazy. Yeah, you sent it to me. I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, yep. But rest in peace, Kyle Busch. Weird to say in 2026, my man. That. I don't know, but I mean, I hate to say it, life goes on and we keep racing. And for everybody that said you need to cancel all this shit this weekend,
no way,
not that easy. Absolutely. And I saw a lot of folks who are, well, Kyle wouldn't want it that way. Well, no, Kyle wouldn't want it that way, but I'm sorry. Unfortunately, this business is so big, you can't just cancel stuff and you can't just park that 8 car. You just cannot park that 8 car.
Well, I think it's not a DeMar Hamlin thing.
Yeah, no.
I mean, no. they're not gonna cancel it halfway through or whatever. So,
yeah, let's say hypothetically you're having a race and something tragic happens, the Dan Weldon situation. Yeah, you don't need to be racing that day after the race has started. But different situation. I think it was. That's what Kyle would have wanted. There's no doubt about it. But good job by NASCAR and good job by Prime and CW and FS1 in getting the weekend in, and great job by all the fans for hanging out for all of that. Unfortunately, that wasn't the only bad news, and the other hits home really, really close. We'll talk about that here in just a second. But first, a word from our friends at My Race Pass and On Demand Shirts.
Welcome to the My Race Pass app, the #1 app for motorsports fans. We want to make sure you get the most out of your My Race Pass app experience. With your new free account, you can use the My Race Pass app to see race day information, including event entries and official lineups and results for over 600 organizations across North America. You can also see track information and purchase online event tickets for select tracks. With your free account, you can also search for a track or series on the My Race Pass app and favorite their profile to receive news and race day notifications on your mobile device. To see more information and to see which app subscription is best for you, be sure to visit getmrpapp.com. My Race Pass, the ultimate racing resource.
Why is branded apparel so important for your company? Well, because a shirt or even a hat that has your brand on it gets worn to grocery stores, baseball games, or even family reunions. The impressions are endless and they last years. Contact us today so we can help elevate your company.
That's right. ODS On Demand Shirts, official apparel provider of Showtime Bobby Chaffee, of me, of the Revved Up Sports Show, of all of it. Be sure and check them out. It is On Demand Shirts. This leads directly into the other. And again, this is somewhat of a little more somber show, but at the same time, a celebration. And I think for more of us here in Texas, this is where we're going to celebrate life. And there will be a celebration of life tomorrow. We'll talk about that. But our Sean Folsom photo of the week, we're going to take a look at right here. And this is Sugar Sean sent this over to us. And obviously the man on the right, we lost this past weekend. That is the great Jack Sandifer. And Sean thought that it was only fitting to send this over because I guess, Jack on the left. On the right is our man, Mr. Larry. So
Larry Kaler, two of the best.
Larry Kaler, couple of old grumpy tech guys right there at what is that? So I guess that was Thunder Hill, I guess, back in those days. Look at that right there. How about that? Look at those two.
That was a good one. He shocked both of us when he was able to find that and send it to us. So,
yep, two guys just doing what they love right there. Look at that. And obviously that's opening ceremonies. Because look at the smiles on their faces. They hadn't quite gone to work yet. They
hadn't DQ'd anybody yet in that one.
Yeah. They hadn't got into that part yet. So just a great photo. I would say Sean would have to tell us, but I would say circa 2011, 2012. I would say is probably what those are.
10 to 12, probably right in there.
Yep. But that is our Sean Folsom photography photo of the week. Be sure and check in every week right here on Revved Up, and we will get those popped up. But yeah, Sean pulled that out. He always gives us a reason why, and obviously reason pretty clear on that one. Mr. Jack Sandifer, son of a gun, hot damn, good dude.
Yeah, I was texting Keith Sandifer, Jack's son. You know that for the people that don't know. I texted him. I said, your dad is the one guy that has been requested the most to come on this show. And I said, he never wanted to come because he said he couldn't talk, didn't like to talk. I said, but you give that man some Miller Lights in the bed of a dually pickup truck or around a fire at the Derby, and that man would sing like a bird and tell all these damn stories.
Yeah. I like to think that I'm very lucky in a lot of things in life, just different, being a part of, the show. I think I'm very lucky that you and I have been able to grow and continue to do this for such a long time. Meeting you, is one of those things that I think was something that advanced a lot of different things in racing for me. But I was very lucky in the sense when I met the Wallace family, because what happened when I met the Wallace family, and they made me one of them, which they did. They claimed me, I became a member of not only the Wallace family. I became a part of the Stewart family. I became a part of the Nauman family. I became a part of the Sandifer family. Lori, Jake Jr.'s wife. That's the twin to Keith, believe it or not. Keith, you ugly. Lori, you're pretty. I don't get it, but they're twins. They're born at the same time. But God, just so many memories have come back, throughout this for me. I remember one of the, I was so lucky that I would go to Mama Dean and Jack's house. And a lot of times what we did is we race on Saturday night, and I'd whether I'd stay with Jake and Lori or Mary Ann and Danny or whatever the case may have been. And we go to Jack's on Sunday and relive all the shit. It's like it, but Jack, the thing that people probably, again, the newer people don't realize about Jack, why is Jack such a great tech man? He's a hell of a car racer. That guy was winning championships.
Hell of a racer. He really was. Underrated by most that didn't even know.
Yeah. He was, you go back and you look at some of the, it's the old programs, back in those days when, and that's where you can really appreciate the sport, is that if you're able to go back and find some of that stuff, that's where you look at the people that Jack Sandifer raced against, and it's like a who's who of people, right?
It'd be a first ballot Hall of Famer for all of them.
Oh man, and that's where, Jack is as he made and I love what you say right there about the Miller Lite and and I'll say it, and the cigarettes. I mean, this guy, jeez. I remember one of the last times that I came across Jack, you know, I'm like, Jack, how you doing? Oh, not so good. Yeah, you know, whatever. Yeah, you know how the older folks are, you know, it's, I ain't doing all that great. You know, they told me not to drink. Yeah, he's holding a beer. You know, yeah, and if you need a beer, you know, I got him over there. You know where my truck is, you know, and then, you know, they told me not to smoke. Okay. Yeah, you know, and I would be disappointed if Jack didn't do that up until the end. And I'm sure he did. But Jack was just the gentle giant's a good word. Gentle kind of butthole, kind of. Because that's how people looked at him. It is like,
nicest
you don't know
asshole
Jack.
you'll ever meet. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's good guy. And what I always thought was kind of cool about Jack was even when he wasn't teching, because you know there was a time where Marianne had the pavement track, and then there wasn't, and then the asphalt rules kind of got all out of control, you know, and that's where, like you're talking about the Derby days. I remember. Like you said, just like it was yesterday when Jack was not teching, he was not employed by a racetrack as a tech person, sitting there telling him, well, this fucking class, you know, this, you know, I'm sitting there bitching and all this shit. And he's like, I've got the rules written on how we can fix it. He wasn't even the tech guy, and he had rules written on how to fix stuff.
It was crazy. I mean, he always thought about it, and he was always looking, you know, even when you're having conversations. You know, with him, he's looking at the car. He's not necessarily teching it, but he mentioned, hey, why don't you go look at that?
Yeah.
Or why don't you double check and look at that? You know, it's just a friendly reminder. Not that he was trying to give somebody the upper hand, but he was like, you know, and you'd pay attention too, because you're like, oh shit, I didn't think about that, or oh, I didn't realize you were looking quite that hard, or you know, something like that. So. I don't know. I was one of the lucky few that got to race the season, and he didn't have to DQ me. So, and I made it to the tech pad a lot that season.
Oh man, that was always one of the things, you know, also because this, you know, short track racing kind of is what it is, but it, you know, initially when you know the first times when I would go to tech, where Jack's the tech guy, you know, and you never knew what was coming. You thought you knew what was coming. Couple of things were you damn sure better. Your ride height better be right, and your carburetor better be right. That was a given right there in some of those classes. So you had to have that. But it was like, you know, things happen these days. I know they still happen. People can't blow smoke up my skirt to where it's like, you know, the tech guy, if something's going on, maybe you're going to be able to sneak by, you know, but that was, man, I'm especially now, I'm proud to say I got thrown out by Jack a lot. But Jack was always so, and God damn it, you knew when it was coming, because for me, when it was coming for me, he'd reach in that pocket, pull out a smoke, and he'd come over and he'd kind of have this look on his face, and he'd be like, Rodney, I'm sorry. I'm like, shit. And you know, initially I thought, sure, he's gonna let me pass, right? I mean, we're friends. I'm going to his house tomorrow. I mean, we're having a barbecue, right? You're not gonna throw me out. Yeah, he threw me out. Threw out HE.
Threw out, he DQ'd everybody. He threw out Keith.
Yeah.
And Jake.
Yeah. This was the fairest guy that you could find. I mean, when you talk about literally putting up blinders on who's rolling through there, that's what you're going to get with him. I mean, and that's like even HE now as a race director at CBS. He always tells me, I don't see numbers. Jack didn't see numbers, but Jack did see people, because I can tell you that when he threw me out, it seemed like it did hurt a little bit. And he later on, he would have been, I'm sorry about that. I'm like, dude, it's not your fault. It's my dad's fault. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, he really was. I mean, he was fair. And that's where, you know, for the people that would say that, you know, Jack, this, that, and the other, well, I mean, you say whatever you want to say. The rules were written for a reason. He wrote the rules. He didn't write them just to test his penmanship. He wrote them for a reason. If you didn't follow them, you're gonna get thrown out, and that's what he did.
Yeah, that was, I mean, he checked everything from mini stocks to late models to late model stocks. Helped with the super late models at the Derby. Like, I mean, he checked a little bit of every damn thing.
Yeah, he and Ricky Brooks together. I mean, think about that. You guys that are new to the sport, those two dudes used to that used to be your tech team. you better be on the straight and narrow for the most part, because ain't neither one of them going to do you a favor, and they don't care who you are, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion. Even though that, and I mean, I tried. I'm like, Jack, no, I'm sorry. and that was always the thing. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. All right. But, Jack, just a good man, right? There are so many great stories about him. And man, I'd love to know that's a guy where how many races and events that he was the Tekkens. How many did he do? Now that would be, God, it'd be a crazy number, wouldn't it?
No, I mean, he was running around with us there for a while when we were announcing bi-weekly
Mm-hmm.
in Kyle.
Yep.
And then announcing TSRS, filling in Houston, filling in Corpus, but he was always with us. So
yeah, I remember he'd come to me and he'd say, "Man, great night on the mic," which Jack Sander for saying the mic was always weird, but great night on the mic. I'm like, how do you know? I mean, you're over here. How do you know? Jack's like, I remember sober. I hear everything. yeah, I'm sure you do.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he sure did.
I'm sure you do. God, Bobby, I remember when he first made the change over to, because he had that time off, and this is it was one of the first. It was after he went to CBS to be the tech guy there, and Jack's all about safety. I mean, you can sit here and talk about carburetors and all these different things.
Oh, they hated that when he first went over there.
I walk up to Jack. I don't even think I was working there that night. I just kind of come cruising up to the tech area, and I'm like, "So how's it going over here?" I would always joke with him, and I knew this pissed him off. I would do it after the races. I'd be like, "Who all did you throw out tonight?" Joking. And to him, throwing people out was not a joke. I mean, it was like, it genuinely, he didn't like doing that. I mean, it was never with him on a mission. Tonight, I'm going to get 3. Tonight, I'm going to get 4, whatever. And I would always say, "So what do we get tonight?" When I wasn't racing. "So what do we get tonight?" He hated that shit. I knew he did. But so one of the nights here at CBS where he had just started, I'm like, so Jack, how you liking dirt? And with the safety part. And he's like, Rodney reaches into the pocket, pulls out a cigarette, lights it. And he's like, "I can't believe some of the safety stuff on these cars. You got rusted bolts. The floor pans are all rusted out. The belts are 10 years old." He's like serious as a heart attack. "I can't believe this." Of course, this is a guy that's been taking super late models and limited late models and all these different things. He was just blown away. And he's like, "I'm going to fix this, whether they like it or not." I think he got that part done.
Yeah, he got it through their minds eventually.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, I mean, they hated that when he was first over there. I mean, this is before social media became king, and it was when it was in its infancy, and people were just getting on there and just, "I can't believe I've got to run safety gear." No shit. That's part of it, right? Like, it was like, I mean, he's popping them for like 10-year-old seat belts, 10-year-old gloves, 20-year-old fire suits. Like, he was getting them for all kind of shit.
Yeah. You fucking want me to go buy gloves? It's like, okay, I've got my gloves I haul hay with. No, you need racing gloves. You need like Nomex gloves. That was one of the funniest things where that day he was so serious. "I can't believe some of the stuff that I've seen." I'm like, welcome to the dark side, as they talk about. But man, he just and again, this is where when we talk about Jack, you mentioned Keith, but just the family tree there, obviously, of all of that. I mean, Jake Jr. and just with God, my heart breaks for Mama Dean. I know that and that that when I first got to interact with them a lot, God, Mama Dean gave me hell, still does, still would. That's kind of her job. Where Jack was the gentle giant, Mama Dean was the one where it's like, okay, Jack will be nice, but I'm not. She'll tell you that too. And yeah,
They used to
man,
always give Elizabeth shit about how the hell she put up with me.
oh, that lady right there. And again, this is where we go back to the racing family and just some of the great you said it. I mean, some of the great compliments that we've seen, and we're seeing some tonight, and I know that we'll get a lot more on the replays, to where just all the great outpouring of love and stories about Jack. And like you meant, or like you text me, you've got all the service and so forth, and graveside services and so forth tomorrow, and we'll give you that information here in just a minute. But that's going to be family reunion. Boom, right there.
It's going to be sad, but the stories tomorrow, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Be like when we went to Greg's thing. It was like a section of my childhood was all in the same building at the same time.
Yeah,
it's going to be the same thing, but it's going to be the same thing tomorrow. I'm going to be. I mean, it will be a family reunion.
Yeah,
and it will be packed. We should, as bad as it is, I want to come with a tape recorder so I can just put it in the middle of a table and let them guys go. I mean, it's inappropriate to do that, but oh man, the stories that are going to go tomorrow. Oh man.
Hey, I ain't gonna lie, dude. I almost thought of reaching out to Marianne and asking, we think about a post-race show for this tomorrow. because that Jack would want that. I mean, when you talk about what Kyle would have wanted, I mean, hey, Miller Lights, and let's smoke some cigarettes and let's tell some stories about Jack Sandifer. That would be right up his alley. So the services, Friday, 10 a.m. That's family visitation. 11 a.m. Bastrop Providence Funeral Home. That's 2079 Highway 71 East in Bastrop. We'll get that posted up on the socials.
If you're familiar with Bastrop, it's behind the QT and across the street from Buc-ee's.
Typical Jack Sandifer fashion. 2 spots where you can get all the beer and cigarettes that you need. Yep, right there. The gravesite service, 2 p.m. Austin Memorial Park. That's 2800 Hancock Drive, 78731 in Austin. So it's going to be a little bit of a difference there, back down 71 into Austin. So again, we'll get those posted. 2800 Hancock Drive for the graveside service, 2:00 after the 11 a.m. Services for him, and it will be just kind of you're going to look around. And I hate that this happens, but this is where you get to these type of situations, and you sit there in the remembrances of, in this case, Jack, and you're going to sit in that spot or stand there at the graveside service and be like, "How damn, there's so and so," and then you're going to look over there and be like, "Wow, there's so and so," and that's what's going to happen.
Closest thing to a Longhorn / Thunder Hill reunion we'll have in a long time.
And I did see, I don't know if, I think I saw this. Today's been kind of a blur, but I think that I saw that the Oktoberfest, I think, will be the Jack Sandifer Memorial Oktoberfest, Cotton Bowl Speedway, happening in October. So that, boom, there you go. That only fits right there. I think that should stick. It's always just been the Oktoberfest, whether it was San Antonio or wherever, but now that it's found its home at Cotton Bowl Speedway, I am in full support of that. Should be the Jack Sandifer Memorial Oktoberfest every year moving forward.
Or just one, or one of the summer shootout races. That would be fitting too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Either one works.
Yeah. But
they're racing this weekend too. Going to be a somber day there at Cotton Bowl. So
yeah,
first time they're racing in a hot minute.
Yeah, happen to have a race. South Texas dirt trucks will be there. So all of that going on. It's going to be a busy weekend. You guys race too, right? I mean,
we'll be there.
So out of the loop
with
right
the
now.
dwarfs.
Yeah, and who this 37? I thought there were 3 tracks racing. I may be wrong. I don't know. Hell, I can't keep up. But yeah, so 2 great racing events right there, and of course up north. It's a really rough weekend. I mean, obviously, it's very
Weather-wise,
rough.
it's rough.
Yeah. Rough weekend all the way around. So you had lots of shows that got postponed or canceled, and hopefully we're going to get to the point. Although I'm looking at some of the June weather projections, and it's, I mean, not to be Debbie Download here, but it's showing a wetter June. So I mean, I think that it.
Yeah, 37's running too.
Oh shit. Okay. Well, so it could be a challenge here in the next few weeks to get races in, but hopefully
Same thing on the 13th. We race Cotton Bowl races, 37 races, and H&P races, all on the 13th.
Sheesh. Well, Texas is a big state, so we'll fall back into that because this is remembrance of Rowdy and Jack Sandifer. So we'll probably stay off of the trying to go down the negative road this week. We'll do that next week as usual, but yeah. So looking forward to those events, and again, we'll get that stuff posted there for Jack with all of that. I do think back over on the NASCAR side, talking about that. I think that for the most part that was handled well. I mean, I think that maybe didn't like the way the O'Reilly race ended. I mean, I'll be honest with you about that. I mean,
we talked about it. We texted back and forth about that. You knew that all they were doing was running side by side to get to the end of stage 2 to call it.
Yeah, pacing around like that kind of sucked. I mean, especially when the leader had hit the fence and wasn't going to be, he would not have won. I don't think had they been able to continue. I do think that with Indianapolis and the Coke 600 and all that, I kind of liked waking up and having kegs and eggs with the trucks, and I'm sure the truck teams don't want to do that every year, but I enjoyed that more than.
Didn't feel right without Monaco.
I'll be honest with you. I enjoyed that more than Monaco. I mean, it's like, okay, because a lot of times I start watching Formula One and I just can't get invested. I mean, that's what I did, this year, to where I kind of like the Canada thing. I kind of like where that fell in between. It was kind of in between my nap period, but I did know what was going on, but I don't know. For me, I was just more, I don't know, entertained, I think, with the trucks, but I do get the Formula One, IndyCar, or whatever. But it was a good Sunday of racing, and again, Indianapolis did not disappoint, man. Did not disappoint. What a finish! What a finish!
Yeah, it was a great finish. I like how they went to red. I was surprised they turned it loose with not even a green white checker, a green and white.
Yeah,
at the same time.
Yep.
They've done that the last couple of years that way because they do not extend races at Indy. It is 500 miles, whether it's a caution or straight to green. So that's one tradition that they will not change. Now, NASCAR can have as many overtimes as they want based upon their rules, but when the Indy cars are there, it's 500 miles.
That's it. Sports Business Journal, I think, a part of that same report that you were talking about there with Prime, 6.635 million, the number on the viewers there for Fox. With the Indy 500, I think that number was down a little bit, but not
as many NASCAR eyeballs watching Kyle Larson.
Yeah, exactly. But that's still I'll take that number. That's a damn good number.
Just think if they were on. I mean, I know we love the Prime coverage. Just think if they were on the same big Fox all day.
Yeah. Yeah and no. I kind of go back to where. I mean, look, Mike Joy is one of, that's one of my dudes. I mean, I study Mike Joy. I listen to that guy. That's one of the greats in my opinion. But it's, I don't know, man. The Fox coverage is just the difference between the IndyCar and the NASCAR coverage is so drastic to me, to where it's like you watch the IndyCar coverage, even on the road racing stuff or on the road course stuff, and you can't help but kind of get jazzed up a little bit. I mean, Will Buxton does good. And again, I'm somebody that would rather have Rick Allen there than D. Liffey, but I don't know. It's just so different, the dynamic of the two broadcasts. I don't know if with
the people, the IndyCar stuff with Fox has the same buzz with their community as the NASCAR community has with Prime.
Yeah. Good point. I don't know. I just think that we're, again, just my opinion. I think that something that would fix the NASCAR coverage, because like you look at what the prime booth, you have the play-by-play guy, then you have the driver, and then you have the crew chief. You know what they're doing right there. I think that where you have Mike Joy, and then you have the two drivers, even though Kevin Harvick digs into where Kevin Harvick can be a play-by-play guy and can be an analyst. I think that's good in a sense, but I think that you need to have more of a technical, and in Fox's case, not Larry McReynolds, somebody else, not Larry Mack, please, not Larry Mack, somebody else like a Steve Letarte type in there to kind of add that. Because I think that's where the Fox one gets a little, gets a little stale for me, to where it's like the two drivers start going back and forth, and it's like, yeah, great, okay, and it loses the enthusiasm to me sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that.
But yeah, the prime booth is great. I mean, prime, and again, let's give Fox a little bit of credit, as I just dish at him totally. Why doesn't Fox do a post race? Why doesn't Fox do that? They can't. Prime has a lot more leverage with what they can do.
Prime has no hard in or out.
Oh, yeah.
That's the difference. That's why that post race show was fantastic.
Absolutely, yeah.
Prime about my boy SVG, top 7 average running finish all night long.
Yeah,
I led the damn race. I
thought that dude might win that race at one point, and it got to where SVG might win this race, and not because it rains. And please, people, back off of Suarez a little bit. My man did pretty good on those restarts. He could have pissed that one away, but how about Spire? That
Gabe Hart,
dude.
Is it really Chris Gabehart taking all those Joe Gibbs secrets over there?
Yeah, man, on them Toyota notes, it's working. That's best Chevrolet team, I guess, other than Kyle Larson. I mean, I think pound for pound, Spire's better than. Well,
Spire's got more wins than Hendrick, I think.
Yeah.
Well, Chase Elliott's got 2 and Spire's got 2.
Yeah, but it and I mean, for Suarez, that's great. And especially on this weekend too. Now, this is something that I learned this weekend. I knew that there was a bond there between Suarez and Kyle. I didn't know it was that tight. I didn't know about the talking every week, and I didn't know that it was quite that the bond there. So having Kyle having one of his guys win, and obviously Spire, the connection there, with KBM.
I don't know where they put the cup cars in the Spire building, because the shop itself, the final assembly area, it's a tiny shop.
Yeah,
like there's enough room. When I was in there was enough room for a host of our car and a next gen car, like a chassis. And then their gift shop closed at like 2:00. A little bitty gift shop, about the size of a old school convenience store, half of it.
Damn.
And then you look through the window and you see nothing but trucks in there. So I don't know. I mean, I know the cup cars are there, but I don't know where the hell they work on them.
Well, I'll tell you one damn thing. They have got some stuff figured out, because they are good at every discipline, it seems like right now. And Suarez is a guy that's driving for a contract. And I think he's probably, if he hasn't gotten that yet, unless there's some kind of huge epic fall off, he will have that contract.
Yeah, and the only guy rumored for the seat, unfortunately, no longer there.
No longer with us. Yeah, that was something that I thought about, to where it's like I had actually had a conversation with somebody the day before we got that news, and I said, I could see Kyle Busch in McDowell's ride. Hope I didn't cause that, but yeah, I don't know, but yeah, that everything worked out as well as it could. I think just with all of that, with the weather stuff that was in the area, and it was only fitting. As much as people want to bitch about the weather, it only made sense that there was a dark cloud over Charlotte, because
and you knew it was coming too. You and I text about it from Wednesday on. You knew it was going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But you can't move the 600 up. You can't move up the start time of the 600. I'm sorry.
No.
Everybody's bitching. Like, if you move the start time of the 600 up, you get all 600 miles. It's better than it was in 2024, where they ran 374 miles. Yeah. That was the race that pissed everybody off. The one where Christopher Bell won. They ran 374 or 600 miles. It's like, dude, you pause that one. You come back on a Monday.
Yeah,
you're in your backyard. You come back on Monday and you run the other 200 and the 224 miles that you need to do, or the 324 miles you need to do to get to 600 or whatever the math is. It's so simple that I can't do it.
Well, I'm here to tell you that there are ways to do something different with the trucks, because that, and again, I get NASCAR says we're racing on a time limit. The race is going to end at whatever it was, 11, whatever.
No,
Yeah,
noon there. Yeah. High noon there.
The race is going to end at that time. And again, this is where they're damned if they're do and damned if they don't, because if they would have stretched this out, depending on who won, it would have been like, well, wait a minute. We said we were racing till noon, but I mean, in retrospect, they should have found. I get the whole thing where you want the audience for Fox, for Big Fox, but I mean, I don't think that it would have had that much of an impact on the Indianapolis 500, to be honest with you. I think the down number in the Indy 500 is not because the trucks were racing that morning or any of that, but that's one. And again, this is where now people are beating up on NASCAR for the timed races and all that. They don't do this very often. It's very different. And what was this called? Extreme situation, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, it was some kind of weird term.
Yeah, and it's like, what's so extreme? Well, the Indy 500 is kind of extreme. I'm sorry, it is. But man, you got to fix that one. You got to fix it. You got to find another route. Start them earlier. Next year when they race on Sunday morning, start them 30 minutes earlier. I didn't mind waking up to the trucks, dude. I honestly did not.
Well, I was surprised they didn't really advertise it that much, though, that it was supposed to be Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Because everything I read Saturday night said all the truck teams loaded up and went home because they didn't know when they were going to race, if it was going to be Sunday or Monday.
Yeah.
They were all thinking it was going to be a Monday race at Charlotte.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it is what it is. They'll learn from it, they'll react and do whatever. Thank goodness the nuns are in San Antonio tonight. Just happened to look up at one of the AV consultation screens. Spurs need the nuns tonight. Man, this has been, I'm going to say this has been fun, but
hey man, my Vegas Golden Knights swept the best team in the NHL.
Hey, nothing like
Stanley Cup final.
Nothing like a Canadian sport. Carolina versus Las Vegas. I did the BK show this morning, last minute with him, and he was like, "What do you think of hockey?" I'm like, "Nothing feels more hockey to me than Carolina versus Las Vegas." Even though Carolina hasn't punched a ticket yet, but
they're going to do it. They're up 3-1.
They're going to do it. But yeah, there we go. Hell, but Canada can't win the Olympics, so what do you expect? USA all the way. Again, those services for Jack, and again, we'll post these up here a little bit later on if I can find them. Of course, I can't. Friday, 10 o'clock. Excuse me, 10 o'clock. That's tomorrow morning. 11 a.m. This is kind of the one that's more to all the rest of us. The Bastrop Providence Funeral Home, 2079 Highway 71 East there in Bastrop. And then the graveside service, 2 p.m. Austin Memorial Cemetery, 2800 Hancock Drive, Austin 78731. So obviously, and I did see, I think on the Cotton Bowl page, if you can't make any of those, I mean, everybody understands, the family understands. It's a Friday, it's a work day. Believe it or not, people in the Austin area and San Antonio, that some people actually do have to work on Friday. There's a guest book there that you can sign. So yeah, do that. If you can't make it, leave a thought.
Yeah, it means a lot when the family goes back and when they don't realize that, like, you don't see everybody. See everybody, especially it's something that's going to be that big tomorrow. But sign the guest book, because when they go back in, I can tell you from experience, when you go back in and look at the guest book, you're like, damn, how did I miss that guy? Or, oh, wow, I didn't realize that guy was there.
Yeah. And I'm here to tell I'm here to tell all you sumbitches is when you get to the pearly gates, when your time has come, you're going to get there. Jack's going to be there with that wheel. Going to have that stand-up wheel, and he's going to have his carburetor tools in his hand waiting for us. And you got to pass tech to come through, or he's going to send us
awesome if somebody brought that damn wheel tomorrow.
God, I hate that fucking wheel. God.
Lean that wheel up against that casket. That would just be that would be awesome.
That's the one that got me, and it was a couple of times, and it was. I mean, I remember once I think I'd gotten, kind of mixed up with somebody and the car got moved around, and I don't remember what happened, but it was it was just a little low, and you know, I mean, there was some damage on there, and you know, I go to Jack and I'm like, Jack, I ran off the track. I mean, the car's gonna, I mean, things are gonna move. I mean, that can't be I mean, that you can't throw me out because of that. I mean, you know what he said?
Sorry.
Don't run off the track. So, all right, there you go. The Gentle Giant. That would be, God, that would be so fucking funny if somebody roll that thing up there. Oh my God. If you're listening and you have that wheel or you have his carburetor tools, take that stuff over there and leave it there. God, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, having that wheel, that would just be, God, that'd be hilarious.
Oh man, yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. All right, friends. Thank you for being a part of the program, Bobby. Rest of the week tomorrow. I guess I know what you're doing tomorrow, and I guess I know what you're doing Saturday. So no real reason to ask.
Pretty much, yeah. I'll see you tomorrow, and then I'll be back behind the microphone there on Saturday down at Texana with the dwarf cars.
Yep. Pay attention, folks. We will get a show in next week. I've got some travel going on that may yet again be altered, but we'll get all of that for you and let you know when we will do it again live next time. Big thanks to the folks that help make this show possible. Of course, our friends at On Demand Shirts, AV Consultations, that's audiovisual consultations. Sean Folsom Photography, always. Again, we'll pull that photo up one more time as we jump out of here for one final time tonight. There it is. Your Sean Folsom Photography photo of the week. The great Jack Sandifer. He stands on the left, and like I just like to say, Mr. Larry Kaler over on the right side. All right, friends. Showtime Bobby Chaffee down south. I'm Rodney Rodriguez. If we don't see you tomorrow or we don't see you Saturday, we'll see you next time right here on #Real Race Talk. Be well, everybody.